Gen-Zers say antidepressants have ruined their sex lives. Quote, I'm dead inside. Nick was 19 when a psychiatrist offered him the antidepressant Trintellix to treat his moderate anxiety and depression after just a few short visits. Going on the popular selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, SSRI, a class of drugs that also includes Prozac. Didn't seem like a big deal at the time, but when Nick went off the medication after 6 years, he immediately noticed his genitals were losing sensation. Over the course of a couple weeks, he almost entirely lost feeling in the area and never returned, nor did the high sex drive he once had. What the heck? That the region feels as sensitive as the skin on the back of his elbow does. Oh my God, said Nick. Now 27, a commercial truck driver in New England. He asked to withhold his last name for privacy reasons. He would ultimately learn he suffers from post-SSRI sexual dysfunction. Oh my God. For many, antidepressants are life-saving treatments, but in rare instances, they can potentially cause debilitating side effects that persist for years after stopping the drug. The medical establishment is increasingly recognizing these SSRIs dangers, especially to young people who are being prescribed them at a growing rate. Jeez. SNOMED. The National Institute of Health officials source medical terminology for U.S. healthcare systems recognizes PSSD as a legitimate disorder as of the last year, defining it as persistent sexual side effects, including genital numbness, loss of libido that could last for a few weeks, months, or even years after stopping antidepressants. Wow, that is scary stuff. Sexual dysfunction symptoms associated with the condition have also been acknowledged by official medical bodies in the United Kingdom, Australia, as well as European Medicine Agency. For many, antidepressants are life-saving treatments. Blah, blah, blah. Warning labels for common antidepressants such as Prozac, Zoloft, Paxil, and all list discontinuation, sexual dysfunction as possible side effects. Well, yeah, I think every drug out there has that as one of the possible side effects. Nick can't help but wish he'd been consoled differently in his teens and not been put on medication so hastily. And that's the thing. I know a lot of people who have struggled from what they call depression or feeling depressive and gone to a psychiatrist or a therapist. And like within the first freaking consultation, like they'll say something as simple as yeah, I just haven't been feeling as optimistic lately, and things have just been tough. I feel a little bit down and out. And like within 20 minutes, the person saying to them, like, yeah, have you ever thought about taking mood stabilizers or SSRIs? Like, what? You haven't even listened to them speak yet. What could be possibly incentivizing you to push these things so hastily? Could you be getting some kind of a kickback from the pharmaceutical companies? Yeah, that is the case in a lot of these situations. There's a financial incentive to prescribe these things to people. Like, I think I'm going to look this up. What percent of young people are on SSRIs? Eight to 20%. Wow. And this is 2019. So for all ages, oh wow, females, it's double. Holy shit. 15% of females all ages, 7% of males all ages. That's crazy. Wow, and the highest number is 45 to 64. Man, why? Why is that the worst time for women? Guys, it's pretty similar across the board. Women, it's, man, I would have thought that yeah, I guess actually not. But man, 10, 16, 21, 17. I don't know. I just wish there was like a push to for like other solutions before people go this route. It's like I've never taken this stuff before, but just like the description of what it does to you is so scary to me. Like it, from what I understand, it stops you from going too high or too low, and basically stops you from feeling emotions or feeling feelings too hard. Like I've noticed whenever I felt down and out or feel kind of down about stuff, it's because I'm not doing something right. It's because it ends up being because I'm either leaving potential on the table or putting myself in a bad position. Like something as simple as if I let my room get messy and like let it stay that way for a week, like I feel a little bit shittier than I would otherwise. Or if I spend a little bit more money than I should for a couple weeks in a row instead of like investing it, I spend it on like I buy expensive meals or get a little frivolous with clothing or like go on a bunch of dates or something. I feel a little bit shitty. It's like, man, like those are dumb decisions. Like you're kind of leaving potential on the table. Or if I'm not making great content, or if I miss doing content for a certain amount of days, like, just things that you should be doing that you don't do, like when you're not operating at maximum capacity, it's like it starts to whittle away at your like optimism levels or your happiness levels. And then especially when you don't work out, that too, like if you don't work out for like a couple days or a week or a couple weeks in a row, you feel terrible. At least I do. Same thing for if you don't eat well. So just so many experiments you could do with yourself to see if you could avoid feeling this way avoid feeling depressed without having to take this stuff. I mean, it's just sad. And it's monstrous what these companies are doing, the way they're trying to go about it. Oh shit, I haven't even been showing the freaking right. It always does this when it opens a new page. I don't have the right chart up for you guys. So here we go. This is what I've been looking at. Son of a bitch. Oh, okay. I gotcha. Here we go. This is what I've been looking at this whole time. Sorry, it opened up a new page and took it off the screen share. So yeah, jumps up at age 45 through 64 for women. That sucks. And then double for women for all ages. But yeah, like I said, man, let's look that up. I'm going to look up, is there an incentive? Is there a financial incentive for therapists to prescribe SSRIs? Is there a financial incentive for psychiatrists to prescribe SSRIs? There's no direct universal evidence that psychiatrists receive explicit financial kickbacks from pharmaceutical companies for prescribing SSRIs in the way you might see as a conspiracy thriller. However, the waters get murky when you look into how the system works. Pharmaceutical companies have historically influenced doctors, including psychologists, through indirect financial incentives. Studies like the one from the American Journal of Psychiatry 2016 show that physicians who receive payments or gifts from drug companies think sponsored lunches, speaking fees, consulting gigs are more likely to prescribe brand name drugs over the generics. Even when evidence doesn't justify the choice, SSRIs being a blockbuster case of antidepressants, e.g. Prozac, Zoloft, have been part of this dynamic. A 2019 report from ProPublica's Dollars for Docs database found that thousands of psychiatrists receive payments from pharma, often tied to promoting specific drugs. That said, it's not a simple prescribe this, get a check deal. The incentive is more of a systematic. Drug reps build relationships, fund research, or push studies that favor their products. Psychiatrists might not even see it as a bribe, just business as usual. On the flip side, many argue that they prescribe SSRIs because they genuinely believe in the efficacy, backed by decades of data, not because of a hidden bonus. The Open Payments Program mandated that by the Affordable Care Act tracks these transactions. In 2022 alone, allowed over $12 billion in payments to healthcare providers from pharma Though not all tied to SSRI specifically, you could dig into the data yourself for a clearer picture. So in financial incentives, not a straight line, but there's influence over. There is influence there if you squint. Whether it sways individual psychiatrists depends on the person and how cynical you are about human nature. I could be pretty cynical about human nature. So let me finish with this, because this is something I always try to tie in when the opportunity presents itself. Have you ever heard of the Wexner report from when the Rockefellers took over American healthcare? It's the right thing. Was it Wexner or Flexner? Rockefellers healthcare influence. Come on. The Flexner report, not the Wexner report. So when the Rockefellers started their whole nonprofit thing to avoid taxes and all that and influence policy, the Flexner report, funded by the Carnegie Foundation, but heavily backed by the Rockefeller money and vision, Abraham Flexner, tasked with evaluating U.S. and Canadian medical schools, didn't just critique, he reshaped. Before this, American medicine was a mixed bag. Allopathic doctors, drug-focused, homeopathic, naturopathic, and herbalist coexisted. Nearly half the schools taught holistic approaches drawing on Native American and European traditions. Rockefeller saw this as competition to his growing interest in petrochemical oil-derived components that could be patented into drugs like synthetic vitamins and later pharmaceuticals. Flexner's report slammed on allopathic schools as unscientific, pushing a standardized science-based curriculum centered on drugs and surgery. Rockefeller and Carnegie poured millions into schools that complied, like Johns Hopkins, while others, especially those teaching natural remedies, were starved of funds and shut down. By 1915, over 60 medical schools closed or merged, dropping from 166 in 1904 to 104 by 1930. Only 76 remained, all aligned with the drug-centric model. This wasn't accidental. It was a takeover. Rockefeller's General Education Board and the later Rockefeller Foundation ensured the pipeline produced doctors trained to prescribe, not prevent. Pharmatize deepened this Rockefeller ownership stake in IG Farben. We're going to get to this in 2 episodes from now with this Rothschild series. Ownership stake in IG Farben, a German chemical giant, later infamous for Auschwitz and Zyklon B, linked its oil empire to drug production. Petrochemicals birthed aspirin, plastics, and eventually SSRIs, patentable, profitable, and scalable. Natural remedies, ? Unpatentable and thus sidelined. The American Medical Association, bolstered by this stuff, became a gatekeeper, licensing only allopathic practitioners. By the 1920s, the Rockefeller Foundation was the world's largest philanthropy, steering global health to think the World Health Organization's roots in its international health division. Fast forward, the U.S. now spends over $4 trillion annually on healthcare, 17% GDP, yet ranks 36th in life expectancy amongst developed nations. Chronic disease, diabetes, heart disease, and depression skyrocketed, treated with pills like SSRIs, not cures. Big Pharma's 2023 revenue hit $1.5 trillion. With psychiatrists often at the front line prescribing antidepressants that trace back to this system. Rockefeller's influence is not a conspiracy, it's history. He didn't invent medicine, he industrialized it, prioritizing profit over wellness. The question is whether that legacy still serves patients or just shareholders. I'll let you make your own conclusion on that. But yes, that is all a fact, which is why I'm always railing against patents and all this good stuff, because everything's way more expensive than it should be. We're way less healthy than we should be. And just a few greedy, moralless people that kind of put our system on a different path than it needed to be put on. So this is the type of stuff that I think we'd all like to see change.